Hey, how you doing? This is Rick the Dawn, and today I'll be showing you your father. If you're someone who identifies as a Crip or a Blood or a GD or a BD or a Vice Lord, you might think that you know who the founder of these gangs are, but you might be wrong. In fact, today in this video, I'll be showing you who your true father is. This is a glorious day. So check it out. I want to go ahead and demystify a few misconceptions. When it comes to the Crips, Raymond Washington is often cited as the founder of the gang. Nope, I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. And what about the Bloods? Well, Sylvester Scott is often cited as the founder of this gang. Not quite. Now, let's head over to Chicago, where we'll look at the Gangster Disciples, who are often cited as a gang under the leadership of Larry Hoover. Not quite. And then across the pond, we have the Black Disciples, who are often cited as the creation of David Barksdale. Nope. But what about the Vice Lords, one of the oldest gangs in Chicago? Well, turns out they're cited as the creation of Edwin Perry. Not quite. Now, let's talk about when these gangs actually started. Of the gangs that I've mentioned, one of the oldest is the Vice Lords, who were created in 1957. Then, just 3 years later, we have the Black Disciples, who were created in 1960. The Gangster Disciples were created just 8 years later in 1968. 1 year later, the Crips came into power. This was in 1969. Which leaves us with the Bloods, who are one of the youngest gangs, created in 1972. Yes, Sylvester Scott, Edwin Perry, Larry Hoover. These individuals are incredibly important to gang culture today, but there is a father that supersedes them all. In fact, these gangs are merely branches of a much bigger tree. So, are you ready to meet your father, gangsters? Are you ready? All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. According to my results, the true father of all gang culture is Nathan Bedford Forrest, the leader of the Ku Klux Klan. That is your father. Let it sink in. This gang is one of the first gangs that taught Black individuals how to hate themselves. Did you know the Ku Klux Klan was founded in 1865? So long before the Crips, the Vice Lords, etc., etc. This was the first gang to hate Black people. This was the first gang to kill Black ops. This was the first gang to lynch and hurt and harm and kill and shoot and burn and blow up Black people. This is the father of it all, Nathan Bedford Forrest. The Ku Klux Klan is the original gangster. So if you are in the gang right now, I just showed you who your true father is. Am I right? Think about it. Gangs wear different colors and different fabrics to identify their gang. Well, guess who started that? It was the Ku Klux Klan, who wore white bed sheets over their head to identify or show others who they are. This is where it all started. And what's more interesting is they're still as dominant today as they were before. You never, and I do mean never, hear of a gangster, a Black gangster, hurting, killing, shooting down a Ku Klux Klan member. You want to know why? Because they are the most dominant gang. They're feared amongst everyone. They are so feared that our current and modern gangsters don't even mention their name. Find me a clip of a Black gangster saying anything derogatory about the Ku Klux Klan. You won't find it. You want to know why? Because they are the most feared gang of all time, even today. The Ku Klux Klan were so effective at creating terror amongst Black people that they said, rather than battle against the Ku Klux Klan, we'll just kill ourselves. That's how dominant and feared the Ku Klux Klan is. And it's all due to the work of Nathan Bedford Forrest, your father. Now, for the rest of this video, I'll be giving you a brief history about Nathan Bedford Forrest and the Ku Klux Klan so that you can further inundate yourself with who your father is. I'll be right back.
Nathan Bedford Forrest, a former Confederate general and slave trader, played a central role in the founding of the Ku Klux Klan in the aftermath of the American Civil War. Born in 1821 in Tennessee, Forrest rose to infamy during the war for his aggressive cavalry tactics and the Fort Pillow Massacre in 1864, where over 200 surrendered Black Union soldiers were slaughtered by Confederate forces under his command. Following the Confederacy's defeat, Forrest became the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan when it formed in Pulaski, Tennessee, on December 24, 1865. The Klan began as a secretive fraternity of Confederate veterans but quickly evolved into a violent, white supremacist terrorist organization. Under Forrest's leadership, the KKK used lynching, beatings, arson, and assassination to intimidate newly freed Black Americans and to dismantle Reconstruction-era progress. Though Forrest publicly claimed to have disbanded the Klan in 1869, facing increasing federal pressure, the damage had already been done. Klan violence spread across the South, targeting Black communities, white allies, and Black elected officials. The Klan's goal was clear: to restore white dominance through fear and bloodshed. The most notable attacks on Blacks committed by his gang are the Fort Pillow Massacre. While not under the Klan, this atrocity is directly tied to Forrest. Over 200 Black Union troops were killed after surrendering, many executed in cold blood. Forrest was commanding officer. Next is the Colfax Massacre. Over 150 Black men were murdered by a white supremacist militia, many burned alive or shot after surrendering. The massacre followed a contested election and was meant to crush Black political participation. Then there was the Hamburg Massacre. A white mob, including members of the Red Shirts, killed at least 6 Black militiamen during Reconstruction-era tensions. Who can forget about the Memphis riots? White mobs, including police and firefighters, rampaged through Black neighborhoods. 46 Black people were killed, more than 70 injured, and churches and schools burned. The last and perhaps most vicious attack on the Black American population were the KKK night raids. Throughout the South, the Klan conducted thousands of nighttime raids, whipping, torturing, or murdering freedmen for voting, organizing, or refusing to be subordinate. Nathan Bedford Forrest remains a deeply polarizing figure. Revered by some Confederate sympathizers and condemned by most historians, his leadership of the Ku Klux Klan marked one of the darkest chapters in American history. Though he distanced himself from the Klan later in life, his name and image have been central in debates over monuments, historical memory, and white supremacy in the United States. Nathan Bedford Forrest died on October 29, 1877, at the age of 56. The cause of death was reported as complications from diabetes. In the final years of his life, Forrest's health steadily declined. He had suffered financially after the Civil War and worked in various roles, including running a prison labor camp and a railroad, though none restored his pre-war wealth. Before his death, Forrest publicly claimed to have distanced himself from the Ku Klux Klan, and in 1875 he gave a controversial speech at an event hosted by the Independent Order of Pallbearers Association, a Black civil rights organization, where he spoke about racial reconciliation. Some historians debate whether his remarks were sincere or strategic, but they did little to erase his legacy as a symbol of racial terror. He died in Memphis, Tennessee, and was buried there. His remains were later moved to a park that bore his name, Forest Park, but due to mounting public pressure and protests over Confederate monuments, his remains were exhumed and relocated in 2021 to the National Confederate Museum at Elm Springs in Columbia, Tennessee.
Did you enjoy that? If so, throw a like on the video. Don't forget that this video is sponsored by my website, wordy.com. So if you would like to give me some feedback, if you would like to tell me how grateful you are for introducing you to your father, please go to wordy.com, create an account, and let me know how you feel about this video. All right, it's been good.